how to pick shoulder pads. And that's what we're gonna be talking about today. Now you're probably wondering, why would I even ever have to worry about shoulder pads when they're provided by my team? But the reality is, not every team provides you with all the equipment you need, and sometimes their gear just sucks. And honestly, even if your team does have nice gear, they probably bought it 5 years ago, they're trying to get another 5 years out of it, and that means there is a lot of guys that have worn their shoulder pads before, and you know most of the teams out there have never washed it. So with that in mind, you might want to go out and buy your own set of shoulder pads. And here's what you're going to need to look for. First off, all the shoulder pads in this video were sent to us by the lovely people over at Xenith. And if you want to get your own shoulder pads like we're featuring today, we're looking at the Velocity 2 Youth and the Velocity Pros. They're both available at DicksSportingGoods. Okay, so the first thing you need to look at is age. Like most equipment, there are youth and adult sizes, and shoulder pads are no different. Now, looking at the youth shoulder pads, you can see they go up to around 21 inches across your back, which is the standard they use to measure how big your shoulder pads need to be, whereas the adult versions go a lot larger. Now, generally, I would say that most people are transitioning from like the youth to adult stuff around that like junior high mark, which is like grade 7, 8, 9. But again, it all depends on how big you are. Some people in grade 11, 12 might need youth shoulder pads if they're just small guys. Now, if you are confused about how to fit yourself for shoulder pads and picking the right size, Xenith actually does have a video on that. It explains everything, and it actually comes in the little brochure with the shoulder pads as well as a little reminder. So watch that video first.
This whole month is brought to you guys by Q-Collar. The Q-Collar is revolutionary technology proven to help protect the brain from the effects of repetitive impacts that you likely aren't thinking about when you play, but they do add up over time. I'm not going to get too deep into the woods on the science side here because we did a whole video last year breaking down why so many NFL players are starting to wear it. And you can see even more guys have adopted it to keep their head in the game and to keep themselves safe. These days, getting a brand new helmet can cost over $1,000, which is not easy for a lot of you guys to do. And the Q-Collar protects the brain in the way that helmets just can't. If you're interested in taking further steps to help protect your future with the Q-Collar, visit Q30.com. That's Q30.com. Enjoy the rest of the video.
Number 2 is going to be looking at your position. Now, different positions require protection in different areas. Take someone like a running back. They're going to want a lot bigger shoulder cups, so that way they can put those shoulders down and take on that impact. Where a quarterback is going to need more protection in the front, in the ribs, in the midsection, and someone like an O lineman honestly really doesn't need a lot of protection anywhere because their main focus is, hitting with their pads. They don't really need big shoulder cups. Whereas a D lineman, again, needs bigger shoulder cups because they're going to be doing more hitting. So everything depends on position. And looking at Xenith for this example, for youth, they have the Flight 2 TD and the Flight 2 SF as their lightweight skill pad. And they also have their Velocity as their all-purpose pad for everyone. But for teenagers, as their body starts to fill out, your shoulder pads need to get a little more position specific. They have the Pro Skill, Pro Lineman, and Pro All-Purpose, each designated for different positions who have different needs. If you are confused about what pad you need, if you're looking at like a skill pad as a DB versus like an all-purpose, best thing you can do is look at their product specifications, and that outlines the best positions and who should be wearing which pad. Now at the youth level, making decisions on this kind of stuff is really tough because you're just learning the game. You could be a quarterback one week, you could be a defensive back the next, and then you could be transitioned down to D lineman. You never really know. But again, that's why most companies have an all-purpose pad, which means you can wear it at any position if you're really unsure. And like I said, most companies have some form of guidance they give you on each pad and who should be wearing it. The final thing you need to consider when you're looking at shoulder pads is your future. You have to think about things like how long do you want them to last? What positions do you think you'll be? How big do you think you'll get? Are they comfortable? You'll be wearing these things for at least 2 hours a day for the next couple years, which is why it's really important you buy something high quality. Even looking at like the youth versus the adult, you can see they just upgrade all the padding, and there's just more bells and whistles to make these pro versions for the adult a lot more comfortable and long lasting than the youth ones because they expect you to be in these longer. It's also why I recommend being able to go in person to try on any shoulder pads before you buy them to make sure they fit exactly the way you want. Now it is a new pair of shoulder pads, so they might not feel perfect off the bat, but if it's little things, you'll get used to it. And with Xenith, that is a really big factor because like I said, they are available in DicksSportingGoods, which is in like 400 different locations across the US right now. So you can go in store, try on these different shoulder pads, try on the different sizes for yourself, and make an informed decision. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed. That'll help you make some decisions for yourself about what shoulder pads you want. We will leave links to everything we talked about in this video down below. Check you next time.